I'm Christine Stavropoulos.
Και εγώ ο Νίκος Σαμίδης. Και αυτό είναι το Greek Podyssey, το podcast της ομογένειας.
A podcast for Hellenes worldwide, sharing stories, culture, identity, laughs and a little bit of tsugrisma along the way.
Γιατί μπορεί να φύγαμε από την Ελλάδα, αλλά η Ελλάδα δεν έφυγε ποτέ από μας. This podcast brought to you by Roasting Warehouse.
From Melbourne
to Brisbane,
and now in Athens,
Roasting Warehouse, shaping the global coffee culture.
dream big.
And life is better with great coffee. Roasting Warehouse.
Welcome to the Greek Podyssey. Welcome Anthony Locascio, our comedian and our guest on today's segment.
Welcome. That in the correct order as well. What a great name, the Greek Podyssey.
It is.
He thought of that.
I can't claim it.
They don't know.
Yeah, they busted a lot of brain cells coming up with that, but this one's good.
Do you speak Greek?
Yes. The dust is on my sword a little bit. Because I also find that, so I was taught to kind of speak like cool young person Greek in 2007 and 2008. So my vernacular was never updated because I never lived in Greece. And so then I'm going back to Greece in like 2016, etc. And I'm still using the lingo from 2017. So I'm going to sound like the biggest loser that they know. And the other thing was that, especially back then, you know, now I think there's a little bit, but my accent was flawless when I was a kid. And I would go to Greece and I would talk to them and then I would get stuck for a word and I would just pause. But instead of thinking, oh, this is a non-native speaker who just stuck for a word, they're just thinking, this guy's having an aneurysm, you know, like this is just a guy, this is a like, oh, but he's, you know, I can't swear on this, right?
You can say whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
That's right, fuck the radio. So I needed to get that sorted. And then around this time, my Italian grandparents spoke the heaviest Sicilian, the dialect you could ever imagine, and it's really strong. It's more different to Italian than Cipreka is to Greek.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you listened and you're like, are you all right? But they only spoke that because that's what they spoke regionally before they immigrated. But then they got television and now everybody speaks Italian top to bottom. But because we only spoke Sicilian kind of in the home, I knew a word here and there. I got a lot more cousins and stuff on my Italian side. We were spoken to in English. But I did not want my Greek to heavily outbalance my Italian. So I studied it really heavily at school, Italian, to make sure that I had them both.
Keep them both happy.
Yeah. And so I speak Italian quite well. I speak Greek very well, but I cannot read and write in Greek. But
it's okay.
That's another yes. It's difficult.
I never went to Greek. I can read very, very slowly.
Yeah. But it takes practice. If you want, you can do it.
Yeah.
Just need to spend a bit of time.
Yeah. I just don't know if I need to.
You will discover the beauty of the word, how the words have been made, and what's the meaning. Because through the Greek words, it's very special the Greek language.
It is.
Because every letter has its own meaning. Alpha.
Yeah.
Vita. Alpha. It means a starting of something. Alpha and Omega. In the Bible, we use that as a start and the end.
It's a foundation language.
That's a really good point that I hadn't thought of. The alphabet itself is so historical and entrenched that even the individual names of the letters have their own meaning.
Correct.
That's wonderful.
Delta.
It's the best local airline in the United States.
Yeah, we can tell that.
Sorry, cut that. They're not paying us. Cut that.
No, we're gonna ask for some money.
Oh, we're gonna ask. Okay.
Delta Airlines.
Split it in three.
All right.
33.3.
So well done. You speak 3 languages.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes, I do. Look, again, both my Italian and my Greek are rusty. And I would like to sharpen that sword as much as I can, but it's hard.
You can have a girlfriend in Greece with your Greek.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. You're a young guy, right? And I look at you as maybe my kids' generation.
Okay.
It's really hard to get them and that generation to speak Greek. But I'm taken aback by the level of your Greek because it's not common.
It is, you're right, it isn't common, but it was ingrained in me really, really early. We lived with the Italian Papou when I was little and they were around all the time. So I had the good base. Whereas if I didn't have the base, if the Theo came from Greece and was such an influence on me, if I didn't know a word of what he was saying, it wouldn't have been the same. So it was building blocks. Like my sister, for example, doesn't speak Greek as well as I do. She just didn't have the base. She didn't have the relationship with the uncle as well. So everyone says that she speaks Greek like a Kazi.
This is, oh, yeah. Or a Catherian.
They're a bit better. They're a bit better. I got to defend my stepdad a bit.
You know what Greeks will love to prove that everything is Greek. You know, it's part of our
I hadn't
DNA.
heard of this.
You don't know that?
No, I hadn't heard of this.
Okay.
You haven't watched My Big Fat Greek Wedding, then, have you?
I've got a bit about it.
So it's this Portokalos
Syndrome.
Portokalos syndrome. So I'm going to prove you that your last name is not Sicilian. It's not Italian. It's Greek.
But if it's Sicilian, it is Greek. So
Yeah, because we're already Greeks. We're already there.
This is why I won't do a DNA test. I'll lose half my my
Italian.
audience.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're gone.
So Locascio comes from the word logos, which is a military team,
Okay.
and from askio, the thing that doesn't have a shadow. So it's the hidden warrior. How'd you like it?
How do you like that?
Come on.
You just pulled off the best Mr. Portokalos.
Come
That was.
There we go.
That was.
That's
Look at
intense.
that. There we go.
Okay. Do you do this for every guest?
And I just went to ChatGPT. and
Yeah,
I
no,
said,
no.
Don't give it away. I wanted him
Nice.
to think that you worked it out yourself.
Well, I didn't need to be walking away from this podcast with an inappropriate erection, but I guess I do now. Thank you, Nico.
Let's get back the other Papou. That's how important to maintain language.
Yeah, I mean, it's crucial, and it's, I don't know, because don't forget, I had grandparents who did not, make the same effort to instill the language in our, like none of I've got the 7 of us, the grandkids on my Italian side, and 3 of us speak Italian, and we've all learned independently. We've all learned at school or uni. So it's important, like you say, Christine, to have the grandparents. But it's also crucial for, I think, the special component to be there within the upbringing for the language to be transferred.
Yeah.
Because we know a lot of people who's like you said before, the kids and the grandkids don't speak Greek, even though the young people don't even speak English. So how does the communication happen?
How is it going to work when one day you have your own kids? Are you going to be pedantic in them learning both the languages?
What's the Greek word for vasectomy?
Vasectomy, mastectomy.
Is it? No.
Yes,
Yeah, honestly, Christine, I'm not thinking about that
All
stuff right now because
we'll park that.
it's hard, right?
It is hard.
Like I always, as a kid, I used to. This was a huge consideration for me as a teenager. This was like the thing. I'm like, my wife has to be Italian and Greek so that we have enough space to teach them both languages and it's okay and they know it as well as I do. But you can't really. What am I looking for?
It's too much thought, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not. You can't reverse engineer that. You can't go. I'm looking for Italian and Greek. You can with certain dating apps now, but for around that age, I wasn't just sitting there with my binoculars. You couldn't do that. And then
No, but even if you're married, she doesn't have to be Italian, Greek, be anything.
Yeah. If she,
my daughter-in-law's Australian, and she said to me, "I'd like for you to speak to the kids in Greek and for them to learn Greek." So it could be any ethnicity, but because it matters to you and you've made that effort, is it an effort that you would like to pass on to your kids, or it's not going to?
theoretically, yes.
Yeah.
But if I ended up marrying, say, a half Argentinian, half Serbian, sorry, which day of the week is whose lesson between the Serbs and the Spanish and the Italian and the Greek? So it's tricky, but yeah, it is important for me. I think speaking different languages, not only is it scientifically proven to stave off dementia, and it's like playing an instrument. It's like it's training for the brain. So I think from that perspective, it's crucial to teach young children to speak multiple languages anyway. Choosing what that language is.
And
Might do Japanese.
Do you think using those different parts of your brain has contributed to your skill in comedy?
Skill, right? Stop it.
You have that. You've got it.
Yeah, I think so. I've only really clued in recently to who my biggest comedic influence in my entire life has been, and it's Yaya. Yes, plot twist. Yaya used to sit me down and read me stories and tell me things. And the theatricality that this woman would infuse into her readings was just, like, I didn't know any different because I'm a little boy and this is the first time I'm seeing it, but it's like community theatre.
Can you give us an example?
And,
I'm putting you on the spot.
what's Little Red Riding Hood?
Kokini skufica.
Kokini skufica, because the lasso came through and it's
Oh my God.
and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, this is
Actor.
how it is,
Actress.
right? And yeah, she was just so theatrical in the storytelling, and she's not funny at all, but she just kind of had that. And
The Greeks tend to be theatrical, don't they? Huh?
Yeah.
We're theatrical.
More dramatic, I could
Yeah.
say.
we need the airspace clear here for all the gesticulation.
Let me ask you something. How important was for you, now that you've grown older, to grow up with your grandparents?
There's no qualifying it. It's
Priceless.
Yeah,
Priceless.
seriously,
It
I'm
is.
so lucky, and I realize you're not really cognizant of it when you're growing up, but I am still now, I'm 32, and I have 3 grandparents that are still alive.
Yeah.
They're fucking hanging by a thread, but they're
there.
Yeah,
They're
exactly. Exactly. My nonno, I'll tell you about my nonno for a second. We'll make it the Italian Papou for a moment, but my nonno is going to be 90 next month. He was on such heavy pain medication a month ago for his back that he had a heart attack and didn't realize. He just raw dogged it. He just got through life.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, they were checking his lungs and they said, you had a heart attack 2 weeks ago.
no.
And he was like, no, I don't think so. And then we got a photo in the group chat of him in his Italia tracksuit on the treadmill at the gym, 89 years old.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God.
They made them tough.
Gold.
Yaya and Papou, on the other hand, are at home in Maroubra like, help me, feed me. But they're the best.
See, I missed out on that.
How old are they?
Papou is 86. Yaya is 83.
Okay.
Nonno will be 90 in a little bit. And my nonna passed away when I was 17.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And she was 69. So
How does the nonno get on with the yaya and the papu?
they were really, really close. Really, really close. They didn't see each other for a long time after my parents divorced.
Yeah,
and
that's
that was quite that was sad. But anytime they've interacted, otherwise, whether it's my 21st or whatever, they're lovely to each other.
Do you speak any Greek slang?
Yeah, but only 2007 vernacular. Remember?
Oh, that's
right. No, of course I do, and I've got a few favorites, and I actually spoke about it in my most recent show with the Greek slang because I genuinely feel that Greek is the most descriptive language, the most poetic language in the world. There's 4 or 5 different ways of saying the same word in most instances. And so many of the sayings that you're talking about, Nico, you use them every day, and it's not a shit on a stick or we're not here to fuck spiders or any of the Australian ones. We're talking like proper
Poetry in action. Poetry in action.
Γίνεται τις πουτάνας.
Okay, you got me here. I was ready to test you.
It's perfect.
Yes.
It's perfect because we say γίνεται τις πουτάνας obviously in a place and the place is filling up with a lot of people. We say,
And it's in everyday vernacular now.
It is.
Okay.
However,
Yes?
the translation is
You can't.
the whore is happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Γίνεται τις πουτάνας,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But if there were a whore happening, there probably would be a lot of people around. So it actually,
Connects.
the metaphor actually makes sense.
So I'm going to test you. What σιγά τα αυγά means?
Σιγά τα αυγά is like, I don't believe you.
It's like, it's not
No
a big
big deal.
It's not
No
a big deal,
It's
right?
not-
That's right. I've never heard σιγά τα αυγά interpersonally, but when I was doing research for my stand-up comedy bit that I talked about γίνεται τις πουτάνας and Poulos και Vraki and a few other different ones.
That was a good one. I remember that. Can you run us through a little bit of that?
So the idea behind the bit was that my Papou, the show is called Papou. It's dedicated to my Papou and his life.
Can we just show Papu's ring?
Yes, Papou gave me his ring, and
I don't
I'm
know if you can
wearing
see
it.
that. Yeah. As soon as I saw it, I thought that's a Papu ring.
It's a Papou ring. I'm representing on the Podyssey, the Papou ring. So the show's about his life, and he was a rebel without a cause, wild child, miscreant within his family. his family, they were from Argos. His family were actually relatively well off, and all of his siblings got to go to some went to universities and business owners. They all did quite well. Papou dropped out of school, didn't give a shit, just wanted to play soccer because that's what he was. He was a Termatofilaka. He was the number one goalkeeper in Panathinaikos in the 50s,
Really?
and he tried with Olympiakos. But then they sent him to Australia because the dad,
Because we need money.
exactly. And also he was such a nightmare that they were just
What's Papou's name?
Petro. And so in describing his kind of rebellion and his defiance, I said that Papou used to have a catchphrase whenever somebody would try and tell him what to do. They're like, go back to school, go learn a trade. Papou would say, well, must.
Bringing it back, I said Greek is this beautiful poetic language where, you know, the idiom that we use, the metaphors that are involved in the daily expressions, if you were to translate them into English, you would sound insane. And so we talk about it, and then we go back to Masao, and that's the completion of the thing.
Love it.
How many versions, expressions of Malaka?
The way it's
Duration
used.
of Malaka, okay.
The different ways it's used.
Okay.
Let's play.
So let's play.
Let's
okay.
play.
We'll go one for one?
Yeah.
Ping
Yeah.
pong? Okay. Malako. I should have done my research.
No, don't worry. But it's actually, that word has worked its way into Wikipedia. It's universally
I
known now.
should dare say it would, because it's, yeah, it is universal.
If you ask anyone around the world, can you say anything in Greek? That one tops the list.
You've seen the video from the game show where the British guy, you must have seen it.
No, tell us.
Where they say to him, one of the questions is, what's the name for the tribe that lived in ancient Greece in whatever BC? And he's Malaka. Like, no, it's barbarian, but
That'll do.
yeah.
But you were close.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I'm surprised you guys haven't seen it because it's like it's prime rib for those Instagram pages that are just like called all things Greek or whatever. And
Okay, we're gonna have a look.
We'll have a little look.
I don't know if it's all things, if there's one called All Things Greek, but there's a lot of pages where they just kind of like, they're the hub for Greek content.
Yeah.
And basically what they do is they steal other people's content and videos and they just have a tapestry and they have a million followers because they just have other people's shit
Yeah.
page. So I follow one of them and I saw it on my page.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Through seething resentment. I was like, that's pretty funny.
Where does your material come from?
It's mostly autobiographical and has been. I've been doing comedy for 8 years. I've written 7-hour shows and they've all been, not all of them have been what you would call ethnic slanting. I do one on, one off, year to year. But the idea is always that there's a personal story at the core of all of them. And I really have liked to... Comedy is such an underdeveloped market in Australia compared to the UK and the US.
Okay.
How many comedy shows have you been to in Australia?
None.
Yeah. How many have you been to?
Maybe 10,
10? Across how long?
maybe 5 years.
Okay, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
good.
Yeah.
Most of my friends, the first comedy show they ever been to was mine. Whereas you go to the UK and the US, these guys are going to 3 a week.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
And that means that the audiences are more savvy. The audiences are more kind of, the rhythm of the art form is more there. But in Australia, you have to give them a little bit of extra reason to come back.
it's a hard gig, comedy.
Yeah.
It's a hard gig.
Yeah.
Timing, you got to read the audience.
Anything's a hard.
Got to read it.
Yeah. To do anything, I feel
Agree.
we did a roast for me recently, like a Comedy Central roast, and I caught wind of it, and I prepared like my rebuttal. So it was all my friends, they roasted me, and then I came up at the end. And my friends aren't comics, and I scorched the earth with them.
Oh,
I absolutely.
I wish I could have seen that. Can you relive any of the moments, or you had to be?
In the strict embargo, I can't even give you any of the names. It was not recorded. It was nothing.
Okay.
But then they were like, afterwards, they were like, "Oh, I didn't think you would be that good." And I'm like, "This is my job.
Yeah.
I write jokes. That's what I
Yes.
do. Like, I'm no better at my job than anyone else is at their job."
Did you have a defining moment where you looked at yourself in the mirror and thought, you know what? I'm a bloody funny guy. I'm just going to get into comedy. What was that defining moment?
I will tell you, I have a first-generation Australian Italian father and a first-generation Australian Greek mother. They sent me to a selective school in Sydney. The idea of coming home to them and saying, "Mum and Dad, I'm going to be in the art," when I was in school was just not even
Not on the radar.
Tell me about it.
It was like, doctor, lawyer, pick. And so even though I had watched Eddie Murphy's Raw when I was 11 years old with my uncle, just too early kid, and loved it and thought this is the coolest thing ever, I want to do this, there was no pathway and there was no scope. So I studied law and I got,
Parked it over to the side.
maybe I was forcibly parked over to the side by the faculty who didn't like academic collusion.
Okay.
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe that's what happened. Maybe I'm still paying hex for 4 out of 5 years of a law degree that I don't have.
Yeah.
Maybe.
it's expensive
Who
stuff.
knows?
What a-
I can't
what a hassle.
I can't remember. But anyway, that's what happened. I ended up getting an accounting degree and I worked in insolvency for 4.5 years. Liquidation, bankrupt.
Correct.
Wow. What a contrast.
Yeah.
What a
As you
contrast.
can imagine, thoroughly uplifting industry.
Oh
to
my
be in.
God,
Just
yeah.
some real happy chaps walking around in suit. And I was miserable.
Is considered as a waste of time? No.
Absolutely not.
You gain knowledge.
I gained knowledge. I gained
Material for comedy?
not as much as you think.
No.
It's more that I gained perspective. And I very clearly saw my path that I was going down. And I very quickly recognized that I didn't want to be a 9 to 5, live for the moments that you're not at the office. Everything is geared towards going out for drinks afterwards or the weekend.
Yeah.
I didn't want to live that kind of a life. And I didn't want to, I was 24 at the time. I didn't want to get to 35 and to not have tried to live my dream. So
Good on you. That's not many people have the gumption to think, you know what, I'm going to go live my dream.
Yeah, that's 'cause not many
Got the
people-
Papou's mentality.
I-
They
Yeah.
must out,
They
like,
must
well,
I do a little bit, but also not many people do, Christine, because not many people fail as many things as I did. So it was kind of like,
Yeah, but from failure comes success.
Yes.
You've got to look at it that way. I don't see it as failure. I see it as living life until you find the niche that suits you.
it's been cool. It's been very cool. I did a podcast yesterday in Vancouver via Zoom, and one of the other guests was one Angelo Tsaroukas.
Oh,
I know
Angela.
him.
Who's
Yeah,
my
we know
friend.
Angela, yes.
And we're talking on the podcast, and it never gets stable. Like
Yeah.
it's never. You're always.
He's a funny guy,
He's
isn't
been
he?
going for 30 years. He's an internationally touring, globally recognized top comic. Great guy as well.
Yeah.
And he's saying to me after 30 years, you're never not freaking out. You're never not wondering where the next gig is. You're never not having every single show and the performance that you put in be a referendum on your self-esteem and worth as a person. It's so much that nobody warned me about when I decided to dip my
Wise
toes.
words, wise words.
Do you follow the Greek scene of comedy? It's growing up. It's growing up. It's something that is happening.
I tried to for a little bit, and then I tried to put on a solo show. I tried to do Papou in Athens,
Yeah.
and
In Greek or in English?
I was going to try a bit of both.
I think you got it. You can do it.
It would take a lot of
Yeah.
rehearsal and
Yeah,
writing.
yeah.
But they said no, we can't, man. Sorry. I'm like, what do you mean? Like,
Who's
no,
they?
Just there's a few people that run stuff in Athens. There's a couple of major heads, and one of them said to me, "Look, you really have to be like a Netflix level comedian to make any money." And I'm like, I don't care. I'll do a 50-person theater. It doesn't bother me. And they're like,
Yeah.
nah, we don't want a part of that. So after that, I was like, all right,
Yeah. There are smaller venues that can accommodate that.
okay.
Do you ever feel this fear that you might run out of material? Like it must be,
All the time.
like I would
Every
be
single day.
overwhelmed with anxiety.
I'm worried I'm running about material for this interview.
That's all right.
You don't need
we
material,
can talk
did
to
it?
you all night.
Yeah, definitely. And then I'm constantly caught in, this is going to get very personal, but I'm constantly caught in this stasis where it takes a year to develop a show, an hour show. And that's, you've written it, and then from the time you've written it and you start performing it, it takes a year for it to develop the way. Case in point, when I did Papou at Enmore, the first trial version that I did of Papou was in November 2023.
Oh wow,
So we're talking,
a couple of years.
16 months.
16
and
months, yeah.
I toured the show. I ended up doing Canada and New York after Enmore, but before I did New Zealand, I did London, and then I did all the Australian cities.
So you do a tour overseas as well. You have to.
I started now.
Yeah.
I started as of this last one. And it takes that long to develop the show that I get to the point where I get to the end of one show and I have to perform it still, but I don't necessarily feel the same ways as I did when I wrote it, and you have to update it, and you always feel like
It evolves, doesn't it?
you're chasing your tail by about a year, and then you want to write the new stuff, and the new stuff is kind of underdeveloped. But then if the previous stuff went well, then you're panicking about not being able to produce something that is just.
What's your favorite genre of comedy? What works best for you? Or what do you feel more comfortable with?
I like it. I do like it a lot when you're watching a video and there's a blatant continuity error on purpose as a joke, like when Anthony was not crossing his legs in the previous iteration of this podcast, for example. So that's a good genre of comedy. I like that. I also like dick jokes. That's pretty good. That's a good genre. No, I mean, it's stand-up or nothing for me. The best comics are the ones that can use a different kind of joke multiple times within their set. A decent comic has got the same kind of joke, but does it over and over again, and it's good, and the joke's good, but it's the same.
It's stereotyping.
It's just the same joke style every time. It's you do a 2-line setup, and then you do a 2-line punchline, and then you do a 2-line tag every single time. It's this into this into this into this into this, and then one of your tags is always a funny voice. Okay, you do that same thing every single time.
Yeah, right.
Which is really nerdy stuff that you guys are probably very bored by, but it's like that.
Do you know any Greek jokes? Are you good on that?
Yeah. So one of the parts of my Papou show is that Papou used to always tell me jokes when I was a kid. He used to have anekdota, like Greek street jokes. And when I started doing comedy, he took a big sheet of like receipt paper, I think like from the deli or from Officeworks, and he wrote in Greek little summaries of all of his anekdota on the front of the back. And he was like, you can use them, go for it. And they're all shit. They're all like
Data jokes.
Papou heard, yeah, exactly. Papou heard it in 1962, and he was like, "This guy's a genius," and that's it. And then he relays it. But it was always so funny, especially now. Like Papou has always delivered the jokes. Like he sits there, like he's how can I put this? He's a private investigator in a noir movie. So there's this guy, right? and in addition to that, because he's old now, he forgets bits. So he does the private investigator voice, and so there's a guy, right? And then he has to think. And then eventually he will remember the punchline. He will remember the punchline before he says it. But then he'll laugh before he says the punchline. And he's got pretty rough lungs after 60 years of cigarro. So the laugh is just... And so before anyone's heard the joke, you've gone through private eye, you've gone through amnesia, and you've gone through the black lung, and then he drops the punchline, which is always whatever. Can I say one that's a bit blue?
Yes.
And I'll tell you why it killed me when he said it to me as well. I'm not going to be able to do the whole thing in Greek, but basically
Just do it.
an old woman comes home and she sees a young man up in her farmhouse, like on the ladder, stealing her chickens. And she comes in and she starts yelling at him, get down from there, whatever. And he turns around and he says, "Morigineka otan katevokato tasugamiso." And then she freaks out and she goes in the house, and then he runs down the ladder and he starts running away. And the Riola comes out of the house and she yells at him, "Then he ke monokleftis, he ke pseftis." And the reason why I love that joke so much is because he tells me the joke and he does the whole Papou shtick with the joke, and then he laughs and I laugh, and then Yaya comes out and she comes to tell him something, and then Papou's like, "Yineka ako." That's my Yaya's first name. And he tells her the joke and I'm like, "Oh, this is red hot Papou." She pisses herself. It's great.
Yeah. But isn't it good at that age they can still make each other laugh?
Yeah, I think they just learned.
Oh, really?
Shit.
No, honestly, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah, I'll give you another one.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to rate me.
Nico, I think we'll leave the comedy to Anthony, right? Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah.
Nah, anybody. Come and
So-
do comedy. Come and join us, whoever you want. You watching at home. You've always wanted to. Do it.
It's an art form. See, I forget them. I used to have a whole volume of jokes. And I think, yeah, I'm going to remember it. Really good ones, all Greek, and I forget them.
It's very easy to forget. I forget my own jokes. I'm going this weekend to Geelong in Melbourne
Yes.
to do shows, and I'm not doing Papou. I'm doing like a best of show that I've prepared for a possible US tour later in the year, and I just want to do my best jokes. And this is from 8 years. This is my stuff.
Anthony's
I do
greatest
it
hits.
often, basically that.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any of this shit. I don't know. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I remember that thing that I did about Michael Jordan, but so I have to actually go back through my notes and like
So you
revisit
did a joke
it.
on Michael Jordan?
I did.
Tell us.
Oh, I just like
Put you on the spot.
okay, real quick. It was when The Last Dance was out, the Netflix documentary, and I just loved that Michael Jordan had that beef with LeBradford Smith, if you can remember,
Yeah.
where LeBradford Smith, he was an average player, but he had the game of his life against Jordan. He scored 36 points on him in the game, and allegedly he came up after the game to Michael Jordan, and he was like, "Nice game, Mike." And then Jordan, they cut to the scene, and Jordan's sitting there in his chair. Modern day Jordan, he looks down the lens of the camera, and he's like, "I took it personally." And so the next game, Jordan sinks 35 points on LeBradford Smith in just one half, just as revenge. And then I say, basically, you have to understand how pertinent that is for me, because I'm Sicilian. We're taught from a young age about the motivational power of revenge. Right?
Exactly.
I've never been on stage, and I've never stepped off stage after a set, and another comedian's come up to me and said, "Nice set, Anthony," where I haven't immediately thought, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
That's a bit. Yeah. And then the best part about that is that, like, they interview LeBradford Smith afterwards, and he's like, I never said that to Jordan. He was so locked in, Michael Jordan, that he made up that this guy insulted him just
Yes.
to give himself enough motivation,
motivation
to kill him in the next game.
next one.
It's crazy. He's the best.
Yeah.
Coming up next, it's time for our legal segment with Natasha Karamihu, your trusted voice on Greek legal matters for the diaspora and beyond. Before we begin, please note, the following segment is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. Always consult a qualified legal professional for advice specific to your situation. The views expressed are those of the speaker and do not represent formal legal counsel.
Hello, I'm Natasha Karamihu, and in this podcast, we will explore the interesting topic of buying and selling a property in Greece. First of all, what is actually a property buying or selling act? The sale of a property is the transfer of ownership from the seller to the buyer in exchange for the payment of an agreed price. It is a legal procedure that involves the preparation of a notarial deed and its registration at the relevant land registry office. To sell a property, it is important to acknowledge the necessary documents, costs, and procedure. For example, the costs associated with the sale, such as transfer tax and the fees of the notary public, a lawyer, and an estate agent. The last two only if you decide to involve them in this transaction. What happens at the stage of the advance payment? An advance payment is usually given in a private agreement, which mentions the terms that have been verbally agreed. The agreement includes the details of the parties, the agreed selling price, the method of payment, and the terms of the contract. Particular attention should be paid to cases where the buyers are being lent by banks. In these cases, it should be checked that they have at least the individual pre-approval for the amount the property is being sold for to avoid unnecessary discrepancies. Depending on the circumstances, a notarized preliminary purchase agreement can be signed with stronger legal power to protect the seller in case the buyer withdraws from the purchase agreement without a cause. Regarding the collection of the necessary documents for the sale of the real estate, the buyer selects the notary who will be in charge of the contract drafting, and he or she will indicate the necessary documents collection to complete the transfer. After the collection of the documents, the final contract for the transfer of the property is drawn up. The notary will indicate the order in which the certificate should be issued. Some documents may need to be collected earlier than others. For example, the engineer may find a difference between the actual square footage of the property and the statements on the plans at the tax authorities. Then he or she must declare the actual square meters. This will have an impact on the house tax, NCR, the real estate tax, and the energy performance certificate, among other documents. A lawyer can be authorized to collect all these documents on your behalf and to speed up the process. He or she will also carry out the necessary research and control of the property titles. If legal liabilities are found by the buyer's lawyer, the sales lawyer should be contacted so that the amounts due, if any, can be paid and proceed with the removal. In summary, the documents required to complete the transfer of the property are, among others, the title deeds, building permit, tax and insurance returns, NCR, the house tax certificate for the last 5 years, declaration of property transfer tax, certificate of the municipality that no real estate tax is due for the transferred property, income tax return. Once all the above is said, the final signing of the contract will follow. The buyer and seller appear at the notary's office for the reading and signing of the contract. In addition, the notary may ask the lawyer who conducted the initial title control to do a final check at the land registry to ensure nothing has changed. Then the contract is printed and the parties sign it. The buyer transfers the money to the seller's bank account. This can be done either via bank transfer or by bank check, thus completing the purchase of the property on the day the final contract is signed, and provided that the price is paid in full to a bank account of the same bank. However, when the total or part of the price is paid in installments or by transfer from another bank, therefore the amount cannot appear directly in the seller's account, the terms of the contract must be drafted accordingly for the safety of the seller. After the signing of the contract, the buyer must ensure the registration of an official copy of the contract at the competent land registry office. At the same time, he or she receives the corresponding registration certificate. From that point, he or she becomes the full owner of the property. As we all understand, the process of selling a property in Greece is not simple or straightforward. It is quite bureaucratic. However, apart from the bureaucratic issues, it is very important that the relationship between the seller and the buyer is properly settled from the beginning, so that the sale process runs smoothly. In summary, the sale of a property is a process that requires care, organization, and knowledge of its legal and financial aspects, which is why a lawyer's assistance is essential before signing any agreements or final contracts.
First international location marks the debut of Roasting Warehouse outside Australia, a major global expansion milestone.
Prime location in Neos Cosmos, nestled in the cultural heart of Athens, easily accessible and surrounded by vibrant local life. A fusion of Roasting Warehouse's signature Melbourne-style cafe experience with the local Athenian vibe.
Partnered with Nikos and Christine, two-time Hellenic barista champion, bringing world-class expertise and credibility.
Specialty coffee, locally roasted. High-quality beans roasted with precision and passion, offering a rotating menu of single origins and blends.
Curated food menu, Australian-inspired brunch, fresh pastries, and seasonal dishes tailored for the Greek palate.
Designed for experience. A stylish, modern cafe space built for connection, creativity, and quality coffee moments.
Hosting events, barista trainings, and tastings to engage local coffee lovers and professionals. Dream big, and life is better with great coffee.
What's next on the plans, Anthony? What are you doing? So you're going to Geelong, you said?
I'm going to Geelong on this Saturday.
Okay.
And I'm going to Melbourne the next day, but by the time you release this, it'll be done.
Yeah.
To that.
After Melbourne?
Look, if all goes well visa-wise, I will be doing a US tour in October to a bunch of cities. It's proving very difficult to get a visa, an artist visa. It's extremely expensive and it's extremely arduous, the process to prove.
Why?
Because they don't want people coming and stealing the American dream.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
that's
really hard to get anything in America.
To go
get
and
in,
work, they don't
really
want they don't
difficult.
want people going and working. And the other thing is that I'm sure you guys
They'll
are aware.
charge you tariffs.
Exactly. I'm sure you guys have seen what's been going on with Aussies going to America now. They're getting kicked out for no reason at all.
They
There was
get
a woman that went to
frisked.
Hawaii. She was going to meet her family. Classic Wonder white Australian woman.
Exactly. Married to someone from the army.
And they just kicked her out. And she said, I think you've made a mistake. They're like, nah, you're a terrorist. Go home.
You know why? Because she was dark-skinned, I think.
I don't think so. I think she was.
No, but because she had a lot of clothes with her, they thought that she was coming over to get married, to stay in America. And she said, my husband, I'm married and he's in the army and I'm just coming to visit him. And they deported her.
Yeah.
Well, that's ridiculous.
So the getting the visa is going to be a challenge, and then selling tickets while I'm here is going to be a challenge. And then there's every chance that I sell a bunch of tickets and then I get to the airport and they're like,
It's a
Not
solo
letting
show?
you in.
Solo show
Yes.
or collaboration?
yes, the show that I'm testing this weekend,
Okay.
I'll hopefully be doing it there. And the reason why I kind of generated the best of idea is because I don't want to bring Papou. Papou's retired. I don't want to bring Papou to the States, and my new show is not going to be ready for October.
Right.
I'll be touring that in Australia next year. So that's kind of the plan next year, is to do the festival circuit, which is Perth Fringe in January, Adelaide Fringe in February and March, and then the Melbourne Comedy Festival runs throughout April and May.
Booked
Sydney
out?
Comedy
Have you booked
Festival.
it? You're there?
I'm booked it, yeah. I mean, I will be. I've done the festivals a million times now, except this year I took a break. Mm-hmm. So next year I'll be doing that, and then, just doing what I was telling you guys
Comedy's
before.
great. I love comedy.
You know what?
We need to laugh more.
He has so many followers and groupies. I was talking to a friend of mine, Anna,
Yes.
and I said, we got Anthony tonight at the studio. And she goes, oh my God, my mom loves him. Can you make a video and send it to me? And I said, yeah, sure.
How old is Anna?
Anna?
Yeah.
Anna is 37.
Yeah. And her mum likes me.
Her mom.
she likes it.
Really
demo, boy. That's my demo. Cougar Town. Rah.
What's the future of the WOG, of the, let's
Ethnic
say,
humor.
ethnic humor? Not WOG humor. The
Ethnic humor.
Aw.
Do you think generationally it's going to phase out? I don't see
No,
it.
I don't think so.
I don't see
I
it.
think it's very strong. I
Yeah.
love it.
Just be very careful with how I answer this question. How do you define WOG humor?
Okay, let's say ethnic humor.
How do you define ethnic humor?
Like humor that has ethnic topics for different ethnicities.
Okay, so broadly speaking, humor that's about ethnicity. There's two different types of quote-unquote ethnic comedy. First of all, I rightly or wrongly have tried to not market myself as that.
Yes.
I'm a.
And you've succeeded.
I don't know.
Well,
Not
yeah.
if you look at my social media now, it's like this is like a Sushi Mango tribute act, but
Yeah.
I got to eat too.
But people love it. People
God,
love
you
it.
need to pay your rent.
People do love it, and that's what I'm like. I like to Trojan horse it. So I'll call the show Papou. It's about my great grandfather, Elate, and then once I've established the show, we can talk about homophobia, and we can talk about modern masculinity, and we can talk about addiction, and we can talk about alcoholism, we can talk about all these things. But once I've established that I'm safe, listen, I'm one of you,
Yeah.
and then you can sneak it in. The other important thing from my perspective was to, especially for this show, given that it was going to have such a ethnic, I guess, marketing strategy, was to ensure that it was not a show that you had to be Greek to understand. It had to be inclusive of all. And that's the best kind of humor that I feel. Because if I'm a Greek man or an Italian man, whatever, and I'm making jokes about my ethnicity, but they are relatable to all, it's not just a reference to, and I read it in Neos Cosmos, and all the Greeks are like, I know Neos Cosmos, yeah. And it's not even a joke, it's just a reference to a thing that we all know. And then all the other people that don't belong to that ethnicity are like, I don't know what Neos Cosmos is. You feel excluded.
Yes.
Whereas if you make a joke that not only is pertinent to, like, it might be about a Greek person,
But it's universally
but
relatable.
if it's universally relatable, then not only does everybody in the room laugh, but then tacitly, people that are not Greek engaging their dopamine with a person that is Greek, and just
Adding to it.
programming-wise, they're like, Greeks must be all right then.
Yeah.
Can I give
know?
you an example? Ethnic humor was traditionally about my parents' generation, grandparents' generation. I'm now first generation Australian.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids, I don't think I see myself as specifically ethnic in any way. But my daughter-in-law, who's Australian, says, I want to start an Instagram or TikTok, my Greek mother-in-law. And I
Awesome.
said,
Awesome.
I said, why? And then I'll do certain things when I'm there and she'll say, I should have recorded this. So I think there's elements and it will be generational. And I look at my son will do things differently to what his Aussie mates will do. So there's that specific Greekness about him, like when he puts on the spit and he does the lamb and he becomes a Greek, even though he's second generation, he hardly speaks Greek. It's relatable. It's
He
what
gets
you
into
said.
it. You've also just awakened within me, Christine, the second answer to Nico's question, because it can continue to live on as long as it is modernized, and that can be done in different ways. So, for example, I'm not gonna sling mud at anybody, but there has been subtle criticism of certain purveyors of the kind of original WOG comedy that it hasn't evolved very much, and it's the same thing. That's where Sushi Mango comes in. Sushi Mango are globally popular. They're absolutely killing it.
They parody it so well.
Lovely guys.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily telling new stories. What they're doing is they're updating the vehicle. They are making top production value reels for TikTok, Instagram, and they're cutting it in a way that makes these beautiful stories about, like, my Italian grandparents, one of them's passed away and one of them's not going to live forever. I don't want to forget about them. I watch the Sushi Mango videos and I remember them. So these stories need to be told again and again. It's not that the content needs to be constantly updated. It's that the way that their vehicle for it and their lens for it is updated. Me, on the other hand, I want to modernize the style of jokes. I don't want to do stereotype jokes. I don't want to do, well, we know the Greeks and this and then, but I want to do jokes about when I got invited to do the Istanbul Comedy Festival and I wanted to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land.
Oh, really?
That's what
Really?
It's just to think about it.
that's
Gold,
yeah.
gold.
Thank you.
How did it go down?
I didn't end up doing it.
Oh.
No.
That was good. That was good.
That was
Appreciate
good.
It takes a bit of time
I
to...
appreciate it.
Anyway.
If you need a guest host,
Man,
I'm around.
please.
Hey, that's a good
Please.
idea.
Please.
That's a plan. That's a day.
I'm available.
Please.
Hope you've enjoyed.
And we can talk about some real bloke shit for a
Like a
change.
good
We can
shit,
talk about
man.
Listen, you can talk bloke shit with me.
Like
I'm very blokey.
farts, you know what I mean?
Anything blokey, I'm there.
Why farts are always catchy, man?
Everyone loves toilet
great
humour.
But
My
they're
mum,
funny.
yeah.
I don't think farts are toilet humor. I think the majority of farts happen outside of toilets.
We hope you've had a good time.
Endless. But I've had a great time. What are you talking about? We've
Whenever
had-
you can, again, we need you.
whenever you
want
want.
you.
Well,
Whenever you want.
you can co-host when I'm in Greece. That'll be unreal.
And
And
who's the guest list? Who are we going to have on?
Yeah, we'll have everything, man.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
Okay.
we try to have a varied guest list of people. And we try to just have podcasts just bantering the two of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. Being a funny guy is actually not the prerequisite for doing stand-up comedy. It's a bonus, but it's not a prerequisite. The only prerequisite for doing stand-up comedy is a deep void in your heart where love should be.
Oh, really? Really? No.
Yes.
Douglas, I'm very gullible at times.
Yes, but I was joking. I was joking.
Lovely to have you.
It's been great.
Adore
Anthony.
me.
What an ending note as well. What an ending note. Don't do it, kids. I was lying before. Only, what's the son-in-law?
Jason.
Only Jason. Jason, I'm taking you up on stage.
Yeah, he'd
You
love.
have to do an open mic.
Me?
Yeah.
I've done plenty.
To host an open mic.
I've done plenty.
Really?
To host an open mic, yeah. That's your first couple of years. I've done it on 3 separate occasions, and there is no worse thankless thing to do than to run a comedy night, because first of all, the venues that are trying to get the comedy nights, they think that the comedy night is going to save their business. And when it doesn't, it's your fault. Music and comedy, and music to a much bigger extent, it can be a wonderful accompaniment to a beautiful venue, but it's not going to save your shit.
No,
What are you talking about? Especially not after 2 goes.
exactly.
And then you got comedians complaining to you, oh, I didn't get along with Smart, oh, you never booked me, I never,
Yeah, but no, that's just for amateurs, not professionals. So you people that they think that they're funny, they can make the stand-up comedy. Oh, you don't like it.
You know, Nico,
I'm too old for that. That's
don't say that to us. We'd love to get Anthony back and do a podcast, but live.
sure.
That would be
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah, perfect.
That would be lovely.
Do you know, we talked about this on our
Or if
previous
we can-
podcast, the long Greek goodbye. So we've thanked Anthony, we've said goodbye, and it just keeps
We're
going.
still
We
here.
had an episode what the Greeks do better, and we think that it will be created.
The way we say bye.
So the long goodbyes Italians and Greeks have staying on the door and they're hanging and kissing and say bye-bye.
You've got to add 20 minutes, half an hour to
It's
your
big competition, isn't it?
With Italians and Greeks.
Oh my God. The long goodbye is the best.
It is.
Other reason I'm going to start watching comedy shows.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah,
We're going to hold it to him. Thank you so much for having
Anyway,
me, guys.
Thank
thank you.
Anthony.
What a way to
It's
finish.
been a
Thank you,
pleasure
everyone.
having you here.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank
Wishing
you.
you all best.
Follow
thank you.
and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on our TikTok and our Instagram and our Facebook.
And follows Anthony's page.
Obviously,
as well.
you all
please.
follow
Anthony.
Anthony.
Anthony.Locascio. And if you'd be so kind, if you're still joining us, my special from Enmore Theatre, Papou, is available for free now on YouTube, the whole hour.
What?
Go to my social media or my YouTube and you'll find it. It's very easy. I advertise it very heavily. It's fun. And there's a surprise at the end.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Put a
you.
link.
It's great,
We
it's
put
great.
a link for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank
add the
you.
link. Thank you. Bye. Love you all. Thanks.
This podcast brought to you by Roasting Warehouse.
From Melbourne
To Brisbane,
and now in Athens,
Roasting Warehouse, shaping the global coffee culture.
dream big.
And life is better with great coffee. Roasting Warehouse.
I'm Christine Stavropoulos,
Και εγώ ο Νίκος Σαμίδης. Και αυτό είναι το Greek Podyssey, το podcast της Ομογένειας.
a podcast for Hellenes worldwide, sharing stories, culture, identity, laughs, and a little bit of tsugrisma along the way.
Γιατί μπορεί να φύγαμε από την Ελλάδα, αλλά η Ελλάδα δεν έφυγε ποτέ από μας.